Welcome to the MindTalk podcast, where we delve into the roots of dis-ease growing deep in the subconscious mind. I am your host, Diane Vanas, with over 25 years in energy medicine. Today we'll be talking a little bit more about autoimmune diseases. We're raising the question, are environmental and lifestyle choices responsible for these rising number of cases of autoimmune diseases such as lupus, fibromyalgia, Crohn's disease, Hashimoto's, multiple sclerosis, psoriasis, rheumatoid arthritis, etc. These disorders have occurred mostly, 75%, in women, and mostly in Western industrialized nations. So what is an autoimmune disease? It occurs when the immune system attacks healthy organs and tissues in the body. The immune system no longer knows the difference or can no longer tell the difference between healthy tissue and harmful substances, such as bacteria, viruses, or other pathogens. The body no longer recognizes itself, and the cells no longer recognize what is healthy. But think about it for a minute. If, as we know, we are in such a, I would say, stressful, toxic culture, and many of us grow up with, we'll call them quote-unquote issues, where we think negative, unloving thoughts about ourselves and our body, how could our cells know not to attack ourselves if we're attacking ourselves mentally or emotionally? Let's think about the perplexing aspect to autoimmune conditions. Most people really don't show outward signs that they're sick. They might appear perfectly healthy to friends and loved ones. And so it's very perplexing because the person doesn't get diagnosed. They're often told it's all in their head, and they just don't get the recognition or the support that they need. They could be called a hypochondriac. And the current theory, really, they're saying there's really no cause. But the current theory is that the environment, genetics, and lifestyle could be contributing to the increase of these conditions. But we're going to propose a new perspective, that your health is really a mirror of your relationship to yourself. So this growing epidemic of stress and lifestyle diseases and autoimmune diseases, which has no root cause according to mainstream medicine, but yet really the root cause seems simple. It's an epidemic of not loving the self. This is a new perspective on health, but it's not so mysterious. It really brings the power back into your own hands. If your health is a mirror of your relationship to yourself and your body, then this illness is an invitation to change your relationship with yourself for the better. Once diagnosed, these autoimmune diseases are called incurable. There is no cure. They're usually just managed. but actually incurable is from the medical standpoint. Perhaps, as Louise Hay would say, incurable just means you have to go inward to find the cure. So you have to look within yourself. Illness is an invitation to change your relationship with yourself for the better. Bruce Lipton, an internationally recognized cell biologist who did studies at Stanford University's School of Medicine and also has a best-selling book, The Biology of Belief, talks about a new paradigm of health based on the science of epigenetics. So it's not the gene, it's on top of the gene. Let's explain. He conducted these experiments showing that our genes don't control biology. That's a faulty scientific assumption that was debunked by the Human Genome Project around the year 2003. So Bruce Lipton was doing experiments with cells in the lab, and his experiments showed that it was not the genes that controlled the cells, but how the cells responded to the environment they were in. And human beings have brains, and our response to our environment is much more complex than that of a cell. We have beliefs, and it's through these beliefs that we respond to our life situation or environment. Isn't that a cool perspective? That shows why the belief system work is so important, because it gets down to the core of who we are, and it can actually change our biology. I just love that. So let's ask the question, what message are you giving to your cells right now? If you believe you're a bad person, your cells are listening. If you believe you're sick, your cells are listening. If you say, my cancer, my diabetes, my headache is going to kill me, etc., you are just creating an identity around sickness, and that you own it, you're claiming it. But if you believe that you are a beautiful, worthy person, that you are healthy, you deserve love, your cells are listening. So what kind of relationship do you think you're creating with yourself in your body if you send negative message and embrace negative beliefs about yourself or the world or other people? With autoimmune and other disease conditions, we often see that physical symptoms are accompanied by emotional trauma. When you work on both the body and the mind, the benefits increase. There are stories beneath the surface of people's lives and under the layers of the human body. There are stories in their organs, tissues, and bones that need to be told. And it's listening to these stories that can have a profound effect on health. And responding to these stories with love is how healing begins. Sometimes the body has become so locked into pain as a habit, and the nervous system is locked in fight or flight mode, that it's almost impossible to relax or breathe or even to start healing. So there has to be so many layers that are addressed to remove both old physical and emotional trauma. that gets locked in the body. It seems really that life and health could be so simple if given the right ingredients. So I hope that I've given you food for thought, and we'll continue our journey investigating the mind-body connection